So if you remember the last week, we did the furniture and the millwork in the kitchen, and we have two tabs here. We have a floor plan and a furniture plan. And the first thing that you should do is save your document. And I just saved mine just right before class, and I called it part 3. Or you could do it sheet 3 or whatever you'd like, but this is I've set it to part 3, and that way, just to keep everything orderly and neat. And let me just close this temporarily. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new tab here and a new paper space view. So I'm going to use the furniture plan as a guide, and I'm going to duplicate the furniture plan. And the way to do that, if you remember, is to right click on the tab, and then I'm going to go up to move or copy. And I'm going to click on move to end. This puts the new tab at the end of the row of tabs here. And I'm going to create a copy. Then hit OK. And a new tab appears, Furniture Plan 2. And I'm going to go right on that. And the first thing I'm going to do is rename it. And I'm going to call it Lighting Plan. And the next thing I will do is adjust the title block. So it's set to Furniture Plan, and I'm going to rename that Lighting. Close my text editor, and I'll change my sheet to sheet 3.
Paul?
Yes.
It's Rebecca. If you highlight sheet 3 again, our lighting plan for a second, would you mind double clicking on either one of those?
I'm double clicking on it.
Okay, and then if you go up on the ribbon,
yeah,
see where the font is all the way over to the, and then underneath it says white and then border text. Why would those two things be different? Because I had that, but if you change the white to border text, then that changes blue.
Because somebody set this title block up to be white, and I agree with you, but the correct thing,
or when you do it it's by layer versus,
yeah, the correct color for it should be by layer. That's a good catch, Rebecca.
okay.
So I won't mark that off or anything, but yes, technically, really all of these should be by layer.
Well, because I've run into that too with when I'm like with annotations and things like that. If something's not right, and then I notice that it's not on by layer.
Well, when you change the color or the anything about an object specifically, like white, no matter what layer you put it on, no matter what you do to it, it will always stay that color that you define it. So someone in their wisdom chose to put this on color white, and really it should be by layer. So I would encourage you to do that as you move forward, because you'll be using these templates later on in other classes. And these should, if they're not blue, then yeah, they're probably like by layer. So this interiors 1212 right here is actually someone defined the color of this text to be black or white. So if I double click on it, I highlight the text, and I come up here, sure enough, it's white. So the color should be by layer. I won't mark that off, but this is more for you as you're working in the future. But yeah, those colors should be by layer. Thank you, Rebecca. Good catch. All right. So now I have my lighting plan. It says lighting plan here. I have sheet 3, and I have 3 tabs here: a floor plan, furniture plan, and a lighting plan. And I am going to save this just so I am, in case something happens here. All right. So on our lighting plan, there's certain things that we want to see, and there's certain things that we don't want to see. We don't want to see dimensions. We don't want to see furniture. And really, we don't even really want to see toilet fixtures, for that matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into white model space here. And there's two ways to do it. I can click on paper down here to switch to white model space, or I can double click within the viewport. And I know I'm in there because the viewport is highlighted and it says model space down here. All right. So the things that we're not interested in seeing is furniture. So what I'm going to do, there's a couple ways to do this. And I'm going to click on this freeze button right here. And I'm going to freeze my furniture. I'm going to freeze these dimensions of the millwork here in the kitchen. And those freeze nicely separately because we have all of our millwork on a separate layer. And you know what? Actually, I am going to freeze the millwork. So I'm just going to click on the millwork and freeze that. Freeze that. I'm going to freeze the appliances. I'm going to freeze the sinks. And the other thing I'm going to do, and this may seem strange, but I'm going to freeze the doors. Now let's hope that before I do that, let me make sure that my door's on the doors layer. And no, they're not. So I think I'm going to flip over to model space here. And I'm going to make sure that all of my doors are on the doors layer. Well, first of all, do I have a doors layer? Yes, I do. So I'm going to select my doors. I'm not selecting the door jambs. I'm just selecting the doors. And I'm putting them on the doors layer. And that includes, now I'm just going to use match properties at this point. So I'll select the door and I will select that closet door there, this closet door. What else? The sliding glass doors over here. Those are lines, so that's fine. I'm being careful not to get the door jambs, just the doors. I think that's all my doors. And while I'm at it, I'm going to take this washer and dryer and I'm going to put that on the plumbing layer as well. So I'll just go to match properties and I'll put that washer and dryer on there. And you know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to put this text for the washer and dryer on that layer too. Why am I doing that? Because when I go to the lighting plan and I have all of my my plumbing fixtures frozen, I don't want to see that WD. I just want to see laundry room. So I put that on a plumbing layer too. And I have some millwork here, and I'm going to put that on my millwork layer. And notice as soon as I do, it disappears from this view because the millwork layer in this viewport is frozen. And the last thing that I'm going to freeze is the poche, that hatch. So what I was doing before was I was using this freeze button here and freezing, just clicking on those objects that I want to freeze. The other way to do it, and you could certainly do that with the hatch, but the other way to do it, just to remind you, is to click on the layer dropdown, find the hatch layer, and then not freeze and thaw in all viewports, but freeze or thaw in the current viewport. And I'll just click on that. And as soon as I click on that, that little snowflake appears on the icon right there, and you'll notice that all of my hatch in my viewports disappears. All right, good. I'm happy. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the electrical layer, because we're going to work on electrical right here. So there's a lighting layer here too, but I think I'm going to do everything on electrical. All right. So let me look at my notes here.
Did you want to take our doors off this layer or not?
Thank you. Yes, I have to. Yes, I put them all on the doors layer, so let me freeze them right now. There we go. So my doors are now frozen. I see a little weirdness here, but I'll just, here, let me just go to my walls layer. Just clean that up a little bit. Make sure that all my other door jambs are cleaned up.
Paul,
Yes.
how did you just freeze the W and the D?
Why did I freeze? Why did I freeze that?
No, how did
Oh.
you just freeze those two without freezing everything else?
All I did was I know that I changed my washer and dryer to the plumbing layer, and I also, while I was at it, I changed the W and the D to the plumbing layer too. So when I froze the plumbing layer in that viewport, the W and D also froze along with it. So I just put it all on the plumbing layer.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So let me go back to my electrical layer. And let me open up my lighting, or my blocks here. And I already have mine on lighting, but if you go to your 2D blocks and then go down to symbols and then go to lighting, symbols, and blocks, click open, you'll get a plethora of different lights and switches and outlets and all kinds of stuff. And you'll use this in other classes too. So there's, 2x2 and 2x4 fluorescents, or I guess we use LEDs, but these look like they're fluorescents in here. There's a ceiling fan. There's all kinds of stuff in here.
Did you see that's under symbols? Sorry, I missed that. 2D blocks under symbols, did you say?
Yeah. So
Oh, I see it. Lighting, symbols, and blocks.
2D blocks, then symbols, and then lighting, symbols, and blocks, or lighting, symbols, blocks. Yeah. All right. So let me look at my notes here and let's dig in. So I'm going to sort of start up here in the upper family room area here. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to work in model space because it's probably easier for you to see, and I like working on it. And by the way, you'll notice that there's dimensions here, there's hatching here, there's furniture here. All of that stuff is still here, still visible in my model space, but it's only gone in my lighting on my lighting plan sheet. All right, I am going to, first thing I want to do. Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's Rebecca. I have one more question. So we have living room, dining room, and garage denoted on our floor plans. Should those stay?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that question.
Living room, dining room, and garage. So what's it's not going to be it's in text. It's denoted and annotated on our
handout?
floor plans. Should we leave that or should we get rid of them? I don't think you did. I don't think you put it on yours.
Oh, you mean like living room and dining room and garage, those notes?
Yeah.
Well, it's so minor, Rebecca. Yes, I guess technically you might want to show them, but for this remodeling, I think they're incidental to what the purpose of the remodeling is. So
Okay, is there best practice as to what layer you would put that text on?
what
So that it
layer,
doesn't show.
what layer you would put it on?
So it doesn't show, would you make it furniture or dimension?
Well, actually, you know what? Actually, in the lighting plan, I'm actually going to freeze the text here. I'm not going to show the text in here. So
Okay.
I'm going to freeze that there. So I think your question's moot at this point. All right, hold on 1 second. I have to step away for 1 second. Sorry about that. My dumb UPS guy, of course, has to come right in the middle of my class. All right, so all right, so yes, I did freeze my lighting, I'm sorry, my text layer in on my lighting sheet. All right, I guess I will work on here. It might be easier. All right, I'm gonna look for, I'm gonna put some sconces up here on either side of the fireplace. And let me see if I can find it. And right here, there is a wall sconce. So I'm gonna actually bring it in and I'm gonna rotate it. So I'm gonna click on rotate here to and just bring it in. And no, it didn't want to rotate it, but that's okay. I will rotate it. And I'm going to put it. So that sconce is going to be 8 inches from the edge of the fireplace. So I'm going to move the sconce right at that insertion point and put it here. And I'm just going to move it 8 inches over. And I can draw another one here, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mirror this one. So I'm just going to type MI, click on it, click the middle of the fireplace, mirror it over to the right side. Okay, so now on this wall here, I have there's just a picture light here. And I'm just gonna I don't really have a symbol for that. So I am just going to draw something here. And oh, by the way, what I was gonna say before was over in my O snaps, I'm just gonna click the little arrow here to the right. And there's a couple O snaps that you should have checked. In addition to your, the typical endpoint, mid, center, etc. One of them is quadrant, and that will catch the 4 quadrants of a circle. And the other one that I like to use is nearest. What nearest will do, and I think I mentioned it last week or last time, is the nearest will select any point, that little up triangle and down triangle there. That symbol indicates nearest, and it will pick any place that you want on an object. And I'm just going to pick, I'm eyeballing this. I'm just going to pick I'm going to draw a line that is about a foot out, 12 inches. And I'm going to draw a little circle here that, I don't know, let's try 6 inches. Oop, that's too big. Let's try half that. 3 inches. Yeah, that'll be fun. So that will be my symbol for my my picture light. And I think what I'll do is I'll just trim this here. There we go. And I want a ceiling fan in this room, and I want it right at the very center of of the room, you know, at the center of these beams. So I'm going to draw a temporary line from the midpoint. And I'm just going to go along here until I find the midpoint. There it is. And I'll just go across perpendicular or midpoint on that side. And now I will put in my ceiling fan. And there is a ceiling fan somewhere. There it is. I'll put it in and I will move it into place. And what I like to do is I like to rotate my ceiling fan just a little bit, because this always just looks, I don't know, it just looks a little weird to me. So I'm going to pick it. I'm going to choose the center point there for the rotation. And I'll turn my ortho off. And I'm just going to, you know, I just want it like off, just so it's not lined up with that beam. And then I'll get rid of this guideline here and I can move on. All right. I have a bunch of can lights in the kitchen. And I have a row of them running here, and that row is 4'1" from this wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset 4'1". I'll just offset that line there. I'll just extend this out a little bit. And it is 4'7" from this line. So this is just a guideline to help me locate my light fixtures. Offset 4'7" over there. And actually there'll be one that's 2'4" down here. So I'll offset 2'4". All right. And so let me find my can lights. Here it is, recessed can. So I'm just going to pull that in. And I will move it, that first one, right into place right there. And let's see, I have two more can lights, 4 feet up and then 8 feet. 4 feet away from this can light, it'll be here. And another one 8 feet away from this can light, it'll be up here. So I will just copy. And I'll just pick any point nearby and just move it up. I'll turn my ortho on. 4 feet and 8 feet. And then I can get rid of these guidelines right here. Good. And now let's see, I have a can that's 4'2" from this wall. So I'll just offset 4'2" over. And let's see, I've got another one that, all right, let's just I'm just going to copy from the center or insertion point to that intersection. Good. And now I have the next can light. I'm just going to copy this one to the right 5 feet. I have my ortho on, so I'm getting exactly horizontal. And the next one is 5 feet plus 3 feet plus 3 feet. So that's 11 feet, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 feet. And let's see what else. Let me draw a guideline from the center of this over this way. And I have another light. So I'm going to copy this up to that intersection there. And then I have, let's see, I have centered right off of the center of the window. I'm going to have a light right above the sink. So this time I'm just going to bring that can light, a new can light in. Well, I could have, and I'm going to move it So I'm going to move it right there. And then I'm going to move it so it's perpendicular to the inside line, inside wall. And then I'm going to move it one more time so that it is, what is it? 1 foot 1 on the face of that wall. So from the center of this can to the face of this wall will be 1 foot 1, and it's centered on this light, this window light glazing here on that window. All right, now I have a couple pendants that are they're gonna hang down, and they are gonna be in right centered over my island. So let me see if I can find those pendants. What is this? Here's this mini pendant. This is the one here. So I'm going to pull that in, and you'll notice that that pendant is yellow. And the reason is for whatever reason, whoever created this library of fixtures here put this pendant on the lighting layer, and all blocks should be on layer 0. Otherwise, no matter what, if I click on this pendant, you'll notice that it is on the electrical layer, but it's still showing up yellow. My electrical layer is red here, but it's showing up yellow, and that's because it is the color of this pendant has been changed. So what I need to do is I need to edit this. So I'm going to right click on it, and I can do one of two ways. I can go to block editor, or I can edit the block in place. I'll go to block editor. I do edit block in place a lot, so this time I'll just go to block editor, editor. And it opens it up in this gray box here. And you'll notice that if I click on these objects, I go over to my home tab, it's on the lighting layer. So what I want is it on layer 0. As soon as I put these objects on layer 0, they will adopt whatever color or line type that is on the layer that they're placed on. So it's important for these blocks to be on layer 0, which they are. And you know what? I don't like the size of this. Let's just see what the size of this thing is. I'm going to go from that quadrant to this quadrant. It's 6 inches. So I want my pendant to be 12 inches wide, diameter. So I'm going to offset this 3 inches. So I'm just going to hit O for offset 3 inches. Bring it out. I can delete that. Let's just make sure. Measure from that quadrant to this quadrant. Yes, there we have. It's 12 inches. Just what I want. All right, so I'm going to close my block editor up here. Yes, I would like to save the changes. And now my mini pendant is bigger, and it is taking on the color of the layer that it's on, which is the electrical layer. Just what we want. All right, so those mini pendants are in a line 3'10" from the center line of these can fixtures, can lights. So I'm going to offset 3'10", and I want them, and I'm going to go from the center or insertion point of this can, and I'm just going to go up. Just to get that intersection there, and I'm going to move this from the center point or the insertion point to that intersection. So I want it exactly in place. And then I have 3 of them, and they're 3 feet apart. So I will copy this one. The first one will be 3 feet away, and the second one will be 6 feet away. 3 plus 3. And then, so this pendant aligns with this can, this pendant aligns with this can, and this pendant is midway between them. right, I'm going to erase, I think I can erase all of these guidelines here. And I think that's my lighting for the kitchen. Now I've got some lighting that is going on in the hallway here. And the first thing is that these light fixtures in the kitchen here align. So I'm just going to extend that guideline to help me locate these light fixtures. So the first one is 1'9" away from from this wall. And what I've been doing is I've been doing offsets, but this time what I'll do is, let me make sure. Oops, wait. I'll just copy this, and I will put it there, and then I will move it 1'9". And then the next one is 5 feet away, so I can copy, go over 5 feet. And the next one is 10 feet away. Oops, nope, that was wrong. I goofed. The first one is 6 feet away. And now the next three are 5 feet. So I'll just copy 5 feet, 10 feet, 5 plus 5 is 10, and then 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 15 feet. So this fixture will more or less line up with the entrance to the bathroom right there. All right, good. So, and then I have one more fixture down here by the door that goes to the garage, and that's 5.5 feet off. So I will copy this fixture 5'5" down. Good. And now I have a fluorescent fixture in my utility room, in my laundry here. So let me find fluorescent fixtures. Here it is, a 4-inch surface mounted fluorescent, or I guess an LED, but ours is going to be fluorescent here. So I want to get it exactly in the center. So let me just pull it in, and I'll rotate it. So if I draw a diagonal from this corner to this corner, I know that if I move the center of this fluorescent light to the center of this diagonal, it'll be exactly in the center of the room. So I'm going to do that. So I will move, oops. And I'm going to go from the insertion point there to the midpoint of that diagonal line right there. Good. So that light is exactly in the middle. Beautiful. So now the only thing I have left, I think, is in this little toilet room here, I have a strip light here, and I have a fan. By code, we need to have a fan in all of our toilet rooms. So let me see if I can find it. Here it is, a vent fan. And I'm just going to pull it in, and I'm going to eyeball it. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to eyeball that fan. And I think somewhere in here, yeah, I've got a bath bar here. It's 5 fixtures long, but that's okay. We can make it 3. So what I'll do is I will edit this block. So let me click on the block, right click, go to block editor. So I'm going to change it from 5 fixtures to 3. So I'll just delete these 2. And I guess if I wanted to get really technical, what I would do is I would measure from the center line to the edge of the bar here, and then do the same thing there. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to eyeball it, because I don't think my client's going to catch me. So if I can edit the grip corners here, but if I edit one grip corner, it's going to do that, right? Because I'm just editing that grip corner, and then I would have to edit the other one. The other thing I can do is stretch, right? ST is the keyboard, S is the keyboard command, and I can draw a green crossing box over that edge, and then I can slide it into place. Eyeball it like that, and we'll be good. But there is another thing that we could do. If I just click on it, you'll notice that in addition to the corner grips, there is a sort of a side, a middle edge grip here. And actually, when I just click on it, it just says stretch, you know. So I can just click on that, and I can move that, and it'll stretch for me however I want. I'm just going to close that. I'm just trying to get this distance to be the same as that using my eyeballs here. I think I'm shorter. All right, that's close enough. All right, I'm done, and then I will close my block editor. I will save the changes, and there's my block. So I'll just rotate this into place. And technically, it should be right above my vanity, centered above my vanity, but I'm just going to place it here. And I'm going to call that good enough. All right. So now the next thing we need to do is we need to add some switching. And
I have a quick question.
sure.
So still, blocks still mess me up sometimes when we edit them. So now that is permanently a 3 light fixture, right? In our
Yeah.
blocks.
It is. Yes.
So if we want a 5, we're going to have to make a 5. So if we
Yeah.
would have just edited it in place, that wouldn't have changed it permanently, right?
That is correct. So if I knew that later on I was going to add a 5, then what I would do is I would take the 5, and instead of editing it, I would explode it and create a new block. And I would just create a new 3 light block.
Okay.
Yeah. Good question.
So how is that different though than just editing it? So now you've got a 5 block and a 3 block, but so it wouldn't really be a problem just to edit it in place though, right? You're
No,
just saying that way you just have another block.
It's not a problem if I know that I'm not going to need a 5 block. So here's the 5 lamp block right here in my. Oops. If I drag that in, you'll notice even though it says 5 lamp here, when I drag it in,
Yeah,
it's coming in as 3 because we have redefined the block in this drawing. Now, in a new drawing, this will come in as 5.
okay.
But within this drawing, this came in as 3.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it wouldn't change it permanently. Okay.
Well, it
It's
changes
wrong,
it.
it's changed
It changes
permanently.
it permanently in this drawing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So
So
I still
you have to know ahead of time that I'm not going to need a 3 block. You know what? All right. Should I create a 3 block? Would that help?
No, I
Oh,
understand.
okay.
I guess I just don't understand editing in place. So if you edit in place, that changes the block, completely changes the block for each time you're going to use it.
Both, yes. So both,
That would
but both using the block editor and to edit block in place do exactly the same thing.
Okay, okay.
Exactly. The only difference is that when I edit the block in place,
You can see
I
where
can
you
see the rest of the drawing.
are. Okay.
And when I, let me discard.
I was thinking that edit in place only changed it for that particular,
No,
you're changing it.
no.
Okay, now I understand.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
All right, so let me erase that.
Paul, I have a question. It's
Sure.
Rebecca. Is it best practice when if you zoom into the 3 bar to the bathroom light, are you placing the fixture over the wall, or like should you be able to see the wall line, or would that sit on the wall line?
Right now it's sitting on the wall line, and I don't think it makes too much of a difference. But I suppose if you really wanted to get technical, what I would do is I would highlight the fixture, right click, and change the drawing order and send it to the back. So now I can see the wall on top of the light fixture.
Okay, but it should always be butted butted onto it. It should never be
Oh,
like
sure.
the wall and then the light fixture.
You mean like floating away from it?
Yeah, like right next. So
No,
it would be like
no.
2 lines, perpendicular lines.
No, it shouldn't be like that.
Okay,
That would be wrong.
okay,
It should be on the wall.
okay, thank you.
All right, so now I have some switches to add to this drawing. Let me get rid of this guideline. Do I have any more guidelines? All right, I think we're good. All right, so down here, I have 2 switch blocks. And I'm just gonna pull both of them into my drawing, just so you can see them. There's one, and when I bring it up, it asks me to edit attributes. And I can put some attributes, a switch notation on these switches. So if I have like a 3-way switch, I'm gonna type in 3 here to identify it as a 3-way switch. And you'll notice that this switch came up. This is the symbol for a light switch, and there's a 3 next to it. So that tells the contractor that this is a 3-way switch. And just as a reminder for those that don't remember exactly, a 3-way switch there's 3 points. So there's actually 2 switches. So sometimes you want to your garage. Sometimes there's one light in the garage by the door and another one by the garage door, or something like that. That would be a 3-way switch. This switch here, so this is the switch L, and this is the switch U. This switch, if I put it on, and I can put a switch notation on here, I'll put a 3 on it too. That is running in, it's the opposite. The insertion point for this switch is down here. You can see the node when I click on the block. And for this one, the insertion point is here. So which switch do I use where? When do I, because I can rotate these switches. So I could rotate the switch 360 degrees. So what's the big deal, right? So, well, if you remember back in your intro class, if you took intro, when you are looking at a construction drawing, or let me just go back, let me go to the floor plan here. When you're looking at a construction drawing and we have dimensions here, you'll notice that dimensions only appear in 2 directions, or the text on the dimensions only appear in 2 directions. It's straight across this way. So I'm reading it just like I would here. This is like I'm reading this normally. And for these, the dimensions are, if I turn the page, if I rotated my drawing to the right, so these would be at the top. If I rotated this, and this would be at this side of the drawing would be on the top, these would read correctly. So though when we're annotating and when we're drawing, we only want our text to be in one of 2 directions. This direction here, like that, and this direction here like that. So the same applies for, let me go back to my lighting, the annotation or these notes, these threes on my lights. So if I rotate this light fixture, that would be correct. You know, if this light fixture was on this wall here, and I had a three-way light fixture, and I had that 3, that would be correct. But if I put, let me rotate this one. If I put this one on that same wall, this 3, if I turn my paper, if I rotate it counterclockwise, this would be upside down. This would be incorrect. So this would be correct for this wall, and this one would be incorrect, because I only want the direction of my text to be reading, I guess, up, right? So if, you know, up, or so the top is to the left, the top of the text is to the left, or, you know, horizontally. I'm not explaining that well. I hope I'm explaining that okay. But this is right, this would be wrong. You know, similarly, if I had text, if I put a switch on this wall here like that, that would be wrong because I'm reading it upside down. So you want to be aware of the direction of your switches as you're placing them in your drawing. So I'm going to move this away. I'm going to rotate this, move this someplace where I'm not dealing with it. Let me just look at my notes to make sure I'm doing this correctly. Yeah. So I've got this switch is here. Now, how far over is this switch? Well, this is when you're just going to use your eyeballs. You're not going to locate these switches exact. What's going to happen is the switch will actually be located in relation to where the studs are in the wall. And if, you know, so if there's a stud here, they're going to put the J box, the junction box for the switches in the wall, and that's where these switches are going to be. So unless you for a very specific reason, want the center line of that switch to be at a very specific location, you can put a dimension on that switch. But if you just, you know, I just want switches in this general area here, you just put the switches in and the contractor will know what to do. Now I'm going to edit this because I want this switch to also be on a dimmer. It's a 3-way switch and it's on a dimmer. So I'm going to double click on it. And it's asking me how I want to, what the prompt is for it. And right now the value is 3, and I'm just going to add a D to it, 3D. So that will tell me, or that will tell your contractor, your electrical contractor, that this is a 3-way switch that's on a dimmer, 3D. All right, so I have 3 switches here. And so I'm going to copy these switches over. And this second switch is just a 3-way switch. And this switch will actually be a 4-way switch. The most you can ever have is a 4-way switch. And these look a little confusing. So if I click on this, there is a grip here for my text, and I can move my text around for these. So I'll put that 3D there, and I'll put this 3 here. I'll leave that 4 there, just to make it clear for my for my contractor. At this point, when we're doing switching, we want our main reader. Our reader is our client, but our main reader that we're really concerned about is our contractor or our electrician. And we want to make sure that he can read our drawings. All right, so I've got 3 switches there. I have a whole bunch of switches over here. So I'm just going to add that switch. I have no annotation on that, so I'll just hit cancel. And I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. And I'm going to put these near the sliding door there. Oops, I moved. I want to copy. I have my ortho on, and I want the edge of my switch, that node right there, to be on my wall. I want them to actually attach to the wall. So there'll be a 4 switch gang box, junction box here, and they'll all go in. This is showing a lot more space than the junction box actually would be. You know, the junction box is probably in the wall. It's probably about that big, more or less. But you know, we can't show that, right? So our switches get wider and bigger than what they actually are. All right, what else do I have here? Let me go start panning over here. I have a couple switches down here by this door. So I'm going to copy 2 switches over. And I don't want them to be, I have my step risers here. And so I don't want to put my switches on my risers. I want my drawing to be legible. This is not a 4-way switch, so I will just make that a value of nothing. I'm just removing that value there, hitting apply. And this will actually, well, this will be a 4-way. And let's see what else. I have a switch down here. Let me just. So this switch, so we got a door here, right? But we're not seeing the door. And I can't put the switch here because it'll be behind the door. Why don't I temporarily, let me turn my door layer back on. Or, you know what, actually, you know what, let's just go to model space. Let's work there. So there's my switch and it's behind the door. That's not what we want. And I can't put it over here because I got my closet doors. So I'm just going to move this switch up. I have my ortho on so that it's just, oops. So that it's just beyond the door. So when you open up the door, you can come over here and turn the switch on there. Oh, that's where I'm going to put that switch. And I have a switch that's going to go right next to the door in my laundry room. So I will copy this switch, that insertion point, and I'll just move it over here. I'll move back to my lighting plan because all those dimensions get confusing. And I have a couple switches in my powder room here. So I've got 2 switches here. And I'll just copy these 2. And I'm copying switches because I just don't feel like, you know, reinserting them and rotating them. This for me is a little easier. And one of these switches will operate the light, and the other switch will operate the fan.
Paul, is that switch with the upside down 3 just still left over from the example up by the
I'm sorry, say again?
there's a 3, an upside down 3 and a switch. Is that still left over from the example? It's up on the ceiling.
Wait, let me just put this in place here. This floater right here,
Yeah. Okay.
gone. Yeah, good. All right, is that all I have? I've got 3 switches, it looks like over here. Oh, I have tape light too, so I need to deal with that. So I've got this switch here. This switch is on a left wall, and I'm going to have switches here that are on the left side of the wall. So I'll just copy this one. And I'll turn my ortho off. Put it over here. Okay. All right, I think that's all my switching. But yes, I have tape light. I'm gonna want to run some light underneath the wall cabinets. I can't see my wall cabinets here, but so I could turn them on, or I could go back to model space and work there temporarily. And I think I'm just going to do that for right now. So the purple here represents my wall cabinets here, and I have some switches underneath that are going to be underneath, but that's fine. So I'm going to offset those lines about 2 inches. I want it near the front edge of the wall cabinet, you know, so probably in reality might be 1 inch, but I'm going to show it 2 because I think 1 inch is just going to be too close. And I'm going to change this to my electric layer. And let's just do the same over here. Offset 2 inches. And over here. And I'll change all of this to my electric layer. And I'm going to fillet this. Okay. So, all right, last week, I made a point of saying, you know, generally when we change line types, we want to create a new layer for that line type. And for this project, I am going to break that rule. What I want to do is I want to change the line type for this tape light here, but I'm just going to leave it on the electrical layer just for simplicity, because we will never have an instance where we need to turn off all of the light fixtures and leave the tape light on. It's just not going to happen. Are you all familiar with tape light? You know, it just has tiny little LEDs that run along it, and it creates this nice uniform glow that will shine underneath. You know, sometimes you put tape light up on top too, on top of your wall cabinets, and it washes the wall above and the ceiling. So what I want to do is I want to just change this so it doesn't look like a line. I want to make it look like, you know, something else. So I have one piece of tape light here highlighted here. I have it selected, and I'm going to go over to my properties over here, and I'm going to leave that. That is that's the line thickness, but I'm going to change my line type. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to fence line. Now that's a weird line type to change it to, but you'll see how it works. Now you may not have fence line in your selection here. So if you don't, that's perfectly okay. What you want to do is type line type, LINETYPE, and we get our line type manager up here. And see, I have fence line 1 here in my selection, but you may not have that. So in order to get that, click load up here, and then there'll be a whole passel of line types here. And you'll just scroll down until you find here fence line 1 and click on that, hit OK. I already have it in here, so I'm just going to hit cancel here. And it will load it into your drawing, and then hit OK. So when I want to change this line type, I'm going to select the line first. I'm selecting the line first, and then I am changing the line type to fence line 1. And you'll see it's changed into these tiny little circles that kind of look like the LED lights, marching along on it. So that's what we're going to use. Now, you may find that if you're working in the lighting plan here, that line type, which is right here, that is my tape right there. It's not, I'm not seeing those little circles here. So what we need to do is we need to change the LT scale of this line. So I'm going to go over to properties here, and it's set to 1, and I'm going to bring it way down. I'm going to try 0.3, 0.25. I'll try 0.3. Let's see what happens. Oh, first of all, I'm in paper space. So let me get, wait a minute here. Wait. Okay, so the first thing that I did wrong here is somehow I changed my scale. And that, I guess, could happen to me. So let me just change it back to 1/4 inch. And let me lock my viewport. Now I select it and I'm going to change my LT scale or my line type scale to, what did I say, 0.3. See what happens. Now I'm having scale issues here.
Can you remind me again how to get that properties box?
This here? Yeah. So all I need to do is go over to view here, my view tab, my view bar, and then properties right here.
Thank
So
you.
that will turn it on and off. So why am I? See, this happens to the best of us. Oh, wait, let's see, 1/4 inch. That's a 1/4 inch. Okay, I'm going to move on. I'm not going to fool with that right now. I'm taking up too much time. So I'm going to do match properties. Select that tape light. And can't honestly tell you why I'm having this problem right now, and I'm frustrated and embarrassed that it's happening to me. But I'm going to move on. And if you have the same problem, don't worry about it. Okay, I'm not gonna penalize you for it. All right. So all right, I think I have all of my fixtures, and I think I have all of my switches in place. And if I don't, then I will figure it out as we go along. All right, so I'm going to start over here. And what I need to do now is I need to show some circuiting. And the reason for the circuiting is to tell the contractor what fixture is operated by what switch, because he doesn't know. The electrician will not know. So if we leave it to him or her to figure, and this may be this may be the ceiling fan, and this may be these sconces. So they're not going to know. Oh, you know what? I do have, I need a light, a sconce here on the outside of my building. So I pull a wall sconce in here and move it into place. And I'm going to add an E to it. This wall sconce here does not have annotation like the light switches do. So I'm going to have to add some text here. Annotate. I'm just going to go to single line text. I want to make sure that I have 3/32 text selected. 3/32. I want to make sure that my scale is at 1/4 inch. I'm going to go into model space. I want to make sure that that is set to 1/4 inch. And I'm going to put that text right here. And I'm going to put it on the electrical layer, not on the text layer, on the electrical layer, because it's going to be part of the symbol. So single line. I'm just going to put in an E. And I have a sconce out here by this door. I'm going to rotate this. And I'm going to copy that E. Put it over here. Okay, now I have my light fixtures. So this first switch is going to go to the sconce outside. And what I need to do is I need to show, a squiggly line here that goes to that sconce. And we're going to do it by using, and we did this before when we did the chairs, we're going to use the spline. This spline fit tool. There's 2 splines here. The one we want to use is spline fit. And I'm on my electrical layer. We're going to draw this on my electrical layer, and I'm going to go from the endpoint of the switch, and I turn my ortho off. My ortho. Wait a minute, turn it off. And then pull through and hit enter. And you remember that there's some grips here, so if you want it less severe, you can tweak it. So that's good. So that tells my contractor that first switch goes to that exterior light fixture. Now the next switch is going to go to, I have some tape light back here too. So let me just offset 2 inches. and 2 inches. And I will match properties. There's my tape light.
Do we
There.
need to change the line type for this?
I don't need to change the line type for this because when I match properties, it will change it for me,
Okay.
I think.
Well, I meant the spline lines.
Oh, yeah, we will do that, but I'm going to do that at the very
Absolutely.
end. I'm just going to do it at the end because then I can just do them all at the same time. So there's my tape light. Change that to tape light and that to tape light. Okay, so my next switch is going to go to, I've got some, this tape light is actually above the crown molding on the shelving or just at the top of the shelving. So this one's actually going to be shining up. So let me draw and my spline. And I'll just click somewhere on it there, pull and hit enter. So that's going there. And then the next one will go around the back. Let me go back to my lighting plan so I'm not looking at dimensions. So I'll spline again. And I could come around the front, but I'm going to go around the back because I'm going to have another one that's going to these sconces, and I want to cross over other lines as little as possible. Okay, so here we go. For whatever reason, it's working here. So this is my tape light. This is my fence line right here, and this is the little circle on the tape light. So now, for whatever reason, now it's working. Let me change this to 0.3. Let's see if that works. You know what? I'm going to make it even smaller. I'm going to make it 0.25. All right, that's better. So there is my tape light at 0.25. Let me match properties here and there. So now I've got it. All right. So I'm going to spline around, pull through and hit enter. So that second switch is going to light the tape light. My third one is going to go to the picture light and my 2 sconces on either side of the fireplace. So I'll go here, and now I have no choice. I'm gonna have to cross, so I will. So I'll come up and spline to that, and then pull through and hit enter. And then do it again. I'll just hit my space bar or enter to get back into the spline command. And I'll arc over to this, pull through and hit enter. Hit enter again to get back into spline. Pull through and hit enter. So I'm telling my contractor that this light will light on the same circuit, the picture light here, and these 2 sconces, because they're all strung together. And then the last one is going to light or operate my ceiling fan. So I'll just go to spline again. Pull through, hit enter. All right, great. So I'll do the kitchen here. So this first light here is going to light, I think, all of my cans in the kitchen. Yeah. So spline. pull through, hit enter. Pull through, hit enter. Hit enter again to go back into it. Now this light over the sink will be operated back by this switch here, so I'm not going to include that one. And I think on your handout, oops. On your handout, it sort of comes from here, but, and you could do it that way, but I'm just gonna go, because I'm on a roll here, I'm just gonna kind of go continue around this way and pick them up there. So this light will like all those on that circuit. This is a little messy here, so I'm gonna adjust that. And then this light will also light those cans. So let me draw that spline from here. Pull through, hit enter. All right. What else? I've got this is going to light these pendants. Oops. Pull through, hit enter. Pull through, hit enter. And then it's going to, it's a three-way, so it needs to cross over to here. Pull through, hit enter. And let me just change this to a three-way. And I can adjust the location there just so that there's no confusion which one is the three-way. And while we're at it, all right, and then back here, this light will light this sconce back here. So and this will light all of these fixtures. So let's pull through, hit enter. Pull through, hit enter. It doesn't matter if it arcs up or it arcs down. You can do it either way. That's fine. Just make that a little less severe. And I think the last thing I need to do, so I would, you know, you want to continue on in here. Well, let's. Just anywhere on it will be fine. So in here, generally speaking, the switch that's the closest to the door is the switch that would operate the light. So I'm going to do my spline around here So this is gonna, these are gonna cross over. Pull through, hit enter, and then I will do this one.
Paul, it shows opposite on the printout. Should we follow yours or the printout?
It does?
Yeah, it has the first switch going to the fan.
Well, I think that that's wrong. I guess, you know, there's different ways to do stuff, but as far as I'm concerned, it's good practice because most people, when they go into a room, the first light should be the light. So yeah, it does show it that way, but I would cross it. I would
Okay.
I would do it this way. I would show the first switch going to the light and the second switch going to the fan. Okay, so a couple other things, and I may have missed a few here, but I think by now you get the idea. But you would want to add one here, and the switch, of course, would, or I guess this would be a three-way. Oh no, this would be, oh, I guess it's a four-way because I guess let's just finish this. And so yes, this should be a four-way. So we have a switch here, and then all of our fixtures, which are all connected to it, a second switch here, and a third switch here. So the way you know it's four is you've got one switch, that's one. All of the lights, that counts as two. This switch, that counts as three, and this switch counts as four. So when you see a four-way switch, there's actually three switches. And when you see a three-way switch, like here and here, well, I think this would be three too. When you
Paul,
see
how do you
thir-
get to, sorry, when you are changing the attributes, the number, are you just double clicking on it?
Yeah, that's all I'm doing. I'm just double clicking on it, and the attribute editor comes up, and I just change this value. And if it's nothing, I just take it all out.
Okay.
All right. So a couple more things that we need to do. One is to add some dimensions, but before I do that, I want to show the headers above the doors. Now we took all of the doors out, and I'm gonna show the headers, or sometimes they're called bulkheads. Oftentimes they're called bulkheads. So I want to show those over my doors, and there's a couple ways you can do it. This is the traditional way, and we're going to do it all on the electrical layer. One line, two lines. That shows, and this is that wall that is above the door. So this line's already shown, so I will show another line going across here. And you would do that for all of them. What's going on here? There's a little messiness, so I'll just close that. The other way that I like to do it, because I'm lazy, is I like to use the rectangle tool. And I'll just click rectangle, and then you just click this endpoint and this endpoint, and you're done. So you could do it either way, draws two lines, or you can use the rectangle tool. And what I'm doing is, you know, once I do one, all I'm doing is I'm hitting the enter key or the space bar that repeats the command, and I just draw these, get them all done. So either way, this one I'll just draw a line because that line's already there. Either way will work, but we want to show those bulkheads above the doors. And the reason we do that is because that's just the way that they do it. On a reflected ceiling plan or on an electrical plan, and let's face it, this is a reflected ceiling plan, you do not see doors, you see bulkheads instead. All right, so the last thing I need to do is plop in some dimensions. And I only want to see the dimensions on my lighting layer. So yeah, once again, I am going to just draw my dimensions on my electrical layer. I'm just going to do it there. So I am, want to make sure that I'm in my white model space, make sure that my scale is correct. I'm on my electrical layer. I'll go to annotate, click linear, and I'm dimensioning to the center line of each fixture. And I'll use my continue, which I love using continue. Okay, I think that's good. So do I need a dimension in here? Well, if I have one light fixture in a room, the contractor will automatically assume that that light fixture is in the center of the room. So I do not need to dimension that light fixture. If I'm using the stretch command here, if that light fixture were over here, let's say I wanted that light to be centered over my washer and dryer and my, and my sink here, and I wanted it there. If I want a configuration like this, then I do need to dimension this light fixture. But if I don't, and I'm just showing it in the center of the room, no need to dimension. If I have this this bar fixture right here over my my vanity, my contractor will know, my electrician will know to center that a fixture over my vanity. I don't need to dimension it unless I specifically want that light fixture for some reason to be, down here or something. Then I need to dimension it. This really, by all rights, should be dimensioned, but it's not dimensioned on the handout, so I'm not going to dimension it. You don't need to worry about it. So let's look at the picture, this picture light here. Do I need to dimension that? Well, if there's no dimension on this light fixture, the contractor will assume, if I have it shown generally centered, if let's say you're the electrician, right, and you're looking at this drawing and you see that there's a light fixture here and it looks like it's centered and there's no dimensions on it, yes, I know that my designer wants that centered. Now, if for some reason it's slightly off center and I want to make sure that that light fixture is slightly off center, then yes, I need a dimension here. I need to tell the contractor if they're not, if it's not absolutely clear. For instance, if I moved, I'm using the stretch command here. I don't have ortho on, but let me turn it. If I had that sconce there, my contractor would go, it looks like that this fixture is centered on this piece of wall here between the the opening of the fireplace and the corner of the fireplace. And he doesn't have a dimension here, so I'm going to assume that that's centered, and that would be perfectly fine. Now, the reality is here, it almost looks centered, you know, and might be a question if I didn't do it, but I need to put that dimension in here. So I'm going to add a dimension right here, 8 inches. That will tell my contractor in no uncertain terms that I want this sconce 8 inches from this edge. So do I need that here? I could put it there, but if I have it here and the contractor sees that there is apparent symmetry here, I don't need to put it here. So, so I'm only going to put that dimension on one side because the electrician should be able to discern that this is symmetrical and that this light fixture is here. If you want to be absolutely sure, then yes, add that add that dimension there. So what about the fan? Do I need a dimension there? Well, that fan is exactly in the middle of this room. If you remember, I drew that little guideline exactly in the middle of these two beam lines here to place this in the middle of the room. So no, that fan does not need to have a dimension. If I had, if the fan was, if the fan was here, yeah, I'd need to have a dimension, you know, either from this point here or from the back wall there. I would need to tell the contractor where that fan goes. But the point is, if the fan or whatever fixture it is dead set in the middle of the room or in the middle of, you know, the wall area, your contractor will assume that that fixture is in the middle of the room and you don't need to dimension it. So I've got some dimensions here. You'll need to, I'm not going to go through and dimension everything. I don't think you need to watch me do that. I'm looking to see if there's anything else tricky here that I need to call your attention to. I do see a ceiling fan note here. What layer would I put that ceiling fan note on? Anyone want to venture a guess?
Electrical.
Absolutely correct. That is right. The ceiling fan note and the leader for that goes on the electrical layer. Why? Because it is only related to this electrical work. We don't want to see it on the furniture plan, and we would see it if it was on the text layer, and we don't want to see it on the floor plan. We would see it if it was on the text layer on the floor plan. And by the way, since we're on the furniture plan, or I'm on my floor plan layer, I am seeing all of my electrical work. So I need to get rid of that, right? I don't want to see that on this sheet. So I'm going to go into model space. I'll double click into the viewport, go over to my home tab here, and I will click here, freeze or thaw in the current viewport. And I think it's going to give me a message. No, it didn't. Okay, fine. And the reason I thought that was because I am on the electrical layer. But now you'll see that all of my switching, all of my light fixtures, all of my circuiting, everything that's on that electrical layer is gone. And you know what? Actually, I don't want to see this furniture either. So while I'm at it, I'll turn that off. Now on my furniture plan, and I don't want to see my millwork. Well, no, I do want to see my millwork. Excuse me. I'm sorry. That's right.
Paul,
All
under
right.
oh, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Go on. Yes.
Under the legend, there's a LED adjustable monopoint picture light, but I can't locate it on the drawing. Do you know where that is?
I'm just looking right here. 3 LED tape light, fan, recessed ceiling fan, LED sconce. What is it? I don't, oh, LED adjustable monopoint picture light. Oh, the picture, that's, let me go back to my lighting plan. That's this picture light right here.
Oh, got it. Thank you.
That's what that is. So I think what I'm gonna do is tomorrow or Thursday for our class, what I'll do is we'll talk about adding second viewport in here, and we'll do the schedule, the lighting legend. We'll do that. I keep wanting to say tomorrow, on Thursday. But so for your homework for today, or that's due on Thursday, all I'd like you to do is this third sheet, the lighting plan, and put in your light fixtures, your circuiting, your switches, dimensions, headers, and make sure that you have the correct layers frozen in this viewport, which would be the furniture, the millwork, the doors, the poche, the hatching. Those should be frozen.
Would you like us to change the line type of the circuiting?
Yeah, I would. So let me do that. Thank you. So I'm just going to click one of these, and I'm going to change it to oh, here, center 2. And this now I could put this on the center 2, on a center 2 layer, but I'm going to leave it again on the electrical layer. And if I put it on the center 2 layer, then what I think that this spacing here of the gaps here is too big. And what I would need to do if I were to put it on a center 2 layer is I would have to create a new line type. And I don't want to get into creating new line types with you all. It's just, it's a level of complexity that I don't want you to have to deal with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my properties, and I'm going to change the LT scale, the line type scale for that line. I don't know what. Let's try 0.5. Let's see. I might even try. Oh, that's good. I think that's fine. So I changed this line type up here to center 2, and I changed the line type scale over here to 0.5. And now what I will do is I will just match properties. So I'll select that, and I could do like a crossing here and get a bunch of them at the same time. But yeah, I want to get all of my circuiting with that center 2 line type.
I feel like it would be easy to miss something this way. So like in real practice, do you normally change the line type first and then?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I would. Yeah. So, oh, you mean here?
Yeah. When you're initially connecting all the lights, do you normally, would you in practice change the line type first and then do it so you don't miss something going back after?
No, I wouldn't. That's a really dangerous precedent. So what I think she's saying is, here, let's do this tape light here, because I don't have that. So I'm going to if I just go with the spline here. Wait, I want to be in paper space. I mean model space. If I just go with a spline here as I normally would, it'll create that arc in a continuous line type. And the reason is because it's matching my layer. But what she's suggesting is changing the line type, first of all, here to the fence line, and then start drawing the spline. Is that what you were? Am I reading you right? Yeah.
Yeah. Or making a whole new layer just for the
Yeah. Well, here's here's the danger in doing that. So I could go in here and I could, draw my arcs here. And I don't have to change this line type because it's already changed, although it's at the wrong scale. The reason I don't want to do that is because it's very, very easy to forget that you're on this fence line. So if I come back later and I'm like, all right, now I want to start drawing, let me delete that. And I need to draw this bulkhead. So let me draw a rectangle here. And it's coming in as fence line. So, and sometimes it's not really obvious what the line type is. So I never, ever, ever do that. What I do is I draw all the line work and then I change the line type if I'm going to change that. But best practice, what I would do is I would go to layer, I would create a new layer called circuiting or electrical circuiting, and then I would draw all of my arcs on the electrical circuiting layer. The problem with that is, here, let me do it.
I guess that's what I meant, just because it seems like going afterwards, it would be so easy to miss something.
Yeah, yes, it is. Yes, it like right here, right? I missed those. So, but the reason I'm not creating a new layer is because it's just I don't want to go through the process right now with you all of creating a brand new line type. I don't want to complicate things and make you create new line types right now. We'll do that. We can do that later.
But normally in practice, you would do that.
I would do that. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's it. So we're going to have 3 pages. We've got our floor plan. Yes.
Paul, it's Rebecca. I'm sorry. There's small letters annotating. I'm assuming it's supposed to say, let the contractor know what fixture is what, but there's a letter A, B, E.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there is. Okay.
And then how do you do the legend?
Well, we'll do the legend. We'll do the legend on Thursday. Okay.
Okay.
I'm just going to break this lesson up. So the legend will be on Thursday. And yeah, we should have a fixture identifier here for each of these fixtures. So, and that is just a matter of getting some text in here. So I'm going to, well, I guess I can do it in my model space here. I'll go over to annotate. And again, I want to make sure that my scale's right and that I'm using 3/32. I'm just going to do single line. And I'm going to caps lock it down. So yeah, you'll just kind of go through and add that text. And what we're doing is we're just identifying those fixtures on circuits. So yeah. Actually, I'm looking at this handout. You haven't lost me. I'm just looking at this and I'm reading this. And actually they're not, it's not consistent everywhere. This looks like it was started, but it really hasn't been finished. This handout here. Because not every fixture has been identified with a label. And so, all right, so what I wouldn't show these. And I am sorry that this is confusing. I should have looked at this handout ahead of time. But what those letters indicate is if I wanted on my circuit board, on my breaker board, I wanted those lights on different breakers. I would identify which lights I want on which breaker. Or if I was not going to show the circuiting with arcs, what I would do is I would label these, like I would, you know, this is what this strip light is labeled B, and this strip light or tape light is labeled B2. And then what would happen is it would come back to here and on the switch, and I would have a B here. So it would say that, okay, where I have B on the switch, it would light all of those light fixtures that are labeled B. But it looks like what Jane was doing is she started to do that. I'm not sure if that indicates circuiting or if that indicates switching.
It says A's are mounted under wall cabinets at front edge and B's are mounted behind the crown molding and millwork.
Oh, that's what she's doing. So it's a note. All right. You're right. That's what she's doing. Okay, so what's the C? C is mounted at, okay, C is mounted 78 inches above finished floor. I see. All right. Okay, put them in. Fine. That's not how I would do it, but that's fine. Okay. So how would I do it? Well, what I would do is I would have it when you're doing this plan, you'll have more than just floor plans, right? You'll have elevations, right? So I would elevate this wall, and on the elevation, I would have located the height of the fixture on the elevation. So when the electrical contractor is looking at your drawings, he's looking at your electrical plan, and he's looking at, or she is looking at your elevations to identify, so they know that this tape light is up at the top, and and that this sconce is at whatever it was, 84 inches or 48 inches. So fine, she's doing it this way. I was confused because I thought I thought that B represented circuiting. What I normally would do if I have it with a if that represents a note, I would actually write note B, note C, note E, whatever. I would actually write the word note, but that's the way she has it on here. So far be it from me to contradict that. So you can do the same. Thank you for pointing that out. Whoever pointed that out in the legend. Clearly, I was not looking at that.